right, well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Candy Martin from Martin Business Solution, and I am so glad that you have taken the time either live here with me on Zoom, or if you're watching a replay, thank you for taking the time to rewatch it. Make sure that you put in the comment section of the platform that you're watching from. Let us know what city and what state that you're watching from. I am tracking some data, just making sure that I'm reaching across the U.S. as I intend to do more of. And so I'm going to get right into this Corporate Transparency Act. You know, our beautiful government, the great United States of America, always love giving us new things to keep up with. But this one is pretty particular, you know, pretty unique. We get things as a tax professional. I get things all the time and I'm like, okay, I'll just add that in. You know, a lot of it is just paperwork or just a little tweak here and there. But this one is gonna have a bit of an impact. So I wanted to make sure that I got the information out and that I'm sharing it. So please share. All right, Miss Yolanda from Florida, thank you for tuning in with us. I love Florida. Anywhere where there's water, I'm particularly happy there. All right, from Louisiana. So thank you, Ms. Anjanelle. So I'm going to go ahead and get started right here in Slidell. Yes, our corporate office, our main office is in Slidell, but we do serve all across the U.S. So like I said, I'm going to go through the entire presentation, which is it's pretty short. And then at the end, we're going to open it up for Q&A. So if you're watching the replay and we don't cover your question, please put it in the comment section or send us an email and we will definitely get back to you. And if you ask me a question while you're here on live and I don't know the answer, I will get it and get back to you. So I'm going to take these off since I'm not going to use the headphones today. All right, let's get started. I'm going to move this out of my way. All right, so the Corporate Transparency Act, it sounds really fancy and you know, a lot of people are like, oh gosh, that sounds so serious. Well, it is in a sense, it really is. So I don't want to make light of it. But whenever our government comes together and they put a rule in place that affects everyone, they usually call it an act or an ordinance or things of that nature. So yeah, let's take it serious. You can find out more at my website, martinbusinesssolution.com. So let's dive right in. So a little bit about us. So I'll get the formalities out the way. Martin Business Solution was established in January of 1999. It was originally called Candy's Tax Service, but over the years it evolved, you know, into more and more things and more services. We changed the name officially, I want to say maybe 2016. And so we serve all the states and U.S. citizens abroad and those that are deployed. We have in-office opportunities as well as virtual options. I'm going to say about 95% of my client meetings are done online. Just about everything that we do now is virtual. Even, you know, doing this, what we're going to talk about is even virtual. So we do have virtual options available. We are a full-fledged financial firm. We offer tax planning, tax preparation, financial planning, even financial products such as investments, life insurance, retirement accounts for individuals and small businesses, and many, many more, wills and trusts, you know, all those things, budgeting. We also have a full team of agents and support staff so that we're here to accommodate you. And I'm looking forward to it. Gosh, blessings. 2024 will be 25 years in business for us. So yay. All right, so I'm going to read this summary of the Corporate Transparency Act so that we can get a little understanding of what it is. You know, this is not a sexy definition, so it's going to be a little boring, but that's okay. Just bear with me. All right, so the Corporate Transparency Act, or for short, the CTA, effective January 1, 2024, which is Monday. Monday. The CTA requires reporting companies, 1120s, 1120S companies, as well as self-employed individuals and those filing Schedule C, both domestic and foreign, that do business in the United States to report beneficial ownership information, and BOI, or BOI for short, and company applicants to the Federal Crimes Enforcement Network, better known as FINcen. For reporting purposes, a beneficial owner is any individual who directly or indirectly through any contract, agreement, understanding, relationship, or otherwise exercises substantial control over the reporting company or owns or controls at least 25% ownership interest of the reporting company. I'm going to explain all that in a little bit. So you want to refer to the wonderful section 31 USC 5336A3B for a full list of exempted beneficial owners. And I always tell people when it says exempted, disregard that, just follow it to the letter of the law. It's better to be covered and not needed than to need it and not have the coverage. All right. Businesses that exist or registered prior to January 1. So anybody that has an established EIN by December 31st, you will have until 2025 to complete this form. However, those that are going to get an EIN starting January 1, you have 90 days after the registration or the creation of it to do it. And I want you to hear that word, registration or creation. So sometimes people create businesses and they don't register them. Creation eliminated that. You know, people saying, well, I'm gonna just start the business and I'll register it later. Well, 90 days from the post, from sharing a business card, telling somebody you're doing the business, whatever form of creation, leave it to their imagination. You have 90 days to fill out the BOI form. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. And just a little FYI, if you're considering starting a business, and then today's date is we are on the 28th, today is the 28th, okay, December 28th, 2023. So if you're planning on registering an EIN before Monday, January 1, little FYI, you cannot register a business after business hours or on the weekend. So technically you got today and tomorrow. Yeah, a little short notice, but hey, it can be done. All right. All right, so let's get into the rest of the presentation. And don't worry, if you're watching live now, I am going to be sending this out so you can go back and watch it later. You can screenshot the screen, whatever you need to do to get the information, but I'm definitely going to make sure that you get it. All right, so the CTA, which is the Corporate Transparency Act, and one of the things that we have to understand that our government is not a marketing agency. So sometimes they don't have the best marketing strategy. Because when you hear the word corporate, a lot of us immediately think big companies, you know, like Walmart, Target, think of another big, Exxon, you know, those big companies. That's what we normally think about when we hear the word corporate. Well, this is pertaining to any business, you know, whether it's a limited liability company, whether it's a S corp or a corporation, this falls under that. Identifying information that you will have to report for your business is the legal name, trade name, which is what you have when you set up your EIN already. However, on the form, this is what you'll be putting: the legal name, trade name, and the DBA if you have a doing business as. Address of principal place of business, like where's the place of business occurring. So I know some businesses have what's called virtual mailboxes. If you have a virtual mailbox, you will still need to have where does the business actually take place? Like where do you do your business? That's aside from the mailing. Sometimes that's going to be the same. The mailing address and the principal place of business can be the same, but this is where's the transaction taking place. Jurisdiction in which the business was formed or first registered. So pay attention, tax ID number. All right. So and then on the other side of that, the identifying information on the BOI or the beneficial owners and company applicant, meaning that For example, I have clients that I set up their LLCs or their 1120s for them. And so when I'm filling that application out, I'll put the owner's information. If I'm the one completing the application, my information has to be listed as well because I am the one applying on behalf of that company. All right. So we'll need legal name, date of birth, current address, state or federal recognized ID number, which means passport or driver's license, and it cannot be expired. One of the things that I'm not clear on, and I got this on my list of questions, what about military ID? So that was one of my questions because I do have some clients that are currently deployed, and like their driver's license is probably expired. Sometimes their stuff expire while they're serving out of the country, and they'll just use their military ID. So I'm not sure if military ID is gonna be able to work for this. So I'm assuming it is, but don't quote me on it. I do want to find out. Image of state or federal recognized ID. So meaning on the application, we have to put the number there. However, we're going to also have to capture a photo of it. So we will need a copy of the ID as well. So this is going to affect currently about 30 million small businesses. So that's 30 million applications that got to go through this system. All right, so here's the timeline for that. Beginning January 1, 2024, which is Monday, all new businesses reporting is due. So moving forward, if you establish a business tomorrow, Wednesday, you will need this. So that's when that's going to take place. Close that out. All right. And then beginning January 1, 2025, all businesses that are in existence, even those prior to 2024. So if you've been in business 7 years, you have a whole year to get this together. However, if you're going to create, let's say you got an idea that you want to put in, like you said, hey, I'm going to start a candle business and you want to get a different EIN for that, you're going to have to fill out the form within that first 90 days. But if you've been in business a while, you have an entire year. I want to go back to something really quick before I go to the next slide. Just want to make sure that I cover everything before we get into which one am I looking for? Okay, so yeah, you have 90 days. Yeah, I wanted to make sure it was 90 days. All right, so if you need more information about the CTA, or if you want to make sure that all your I's are dotted, all your T's are crossed, like I said, this is a very condensed, summarized presentation of the CTA. So if you need more information, you want to text the letter CTA for Corporate Transparency Act, of course. You want to text CTA to 985-326-9297, and we will send you back a link that you can click to schedule. It's complimentary, no fee. We'll answer all your questions one-on-one, or review how you're currently set up, answer some of those fine print questions. So this is a complimentary session to review your current business structure, or if you're considering doing something in the future, you can use that session to do that with. And so you're going to text the letter CTA to 985-326-9297. Like I said, it's completely complimentary. All right, so what I'm going to do for those that are on Zoom live with me now, December 28th, I am going to allow you all to unmute yourself. And I have a few questions that were sent in, but I'm going to let you guys ask your questions first, and then I'll go over the questions that were sent in. I had a few people that were going to be working, and they said, hey, can you ask this question for me? All right. So if you want to ask a question, simply unmute yourself and ask away. Don't you all unmute at one time. Got a comment, got a concern, got a complaint, don't like it, what are your concerns?
I guess I could ask a question. So for 2024, which would be 2023, I guess, taxes,
Mhm.
and going into the business. Um, if my business is registered, is there like an annual report that I have to continue to do each year? And with that, this year would be 2023, the first time I've actually taken income. Um, so I guess my question is, if it's registered and the annual report, do I have to do an annual report? And then I'm just keeping track for 2024 of everything um, that my expenses and my losses, correct?
Yes, so those are two separate questions. So for the FinCEN beneficial owners report that we have to do for the CTA, you do have to do that by 2025 because your business is already, you have an EIN, so you will do that by 2025. If you start a new business in 2024, you have 90 days to fill out the form for FinCEN. As far as if it's going to be an annual reporting, that is a very good question. I'm going to write that down. Now, that is one of the things I did not see. All I saw that we had to do was register our business with FinCEN. But I would like to think, because what happens if you dissolve the business or if you add somebody, take somebody off, move some things around, what type of application process? Now, I haven't done the weather application. You can't even do it until after January 1 anyway. So I'm looking forward to getting into that, being the first person, first client. I'm going to go through the system, and I'm actually going to come back mid-January and do another virtual. So, hey, this is what happened. These are some of the things I found out. But it's not cut clear that if we're going to do this annually. That's a very good question. So I just wrote that down. And then for as reporting, the type of information that they're going to want is just what we see here on the screen so far. And this is just to, and their logic behind it, from what I'm gathering and some of the conversations we've had, is to cut down. FinCEN, what they do is, it's a federal crimes enforcement network. So they want to make sure that people aren't money laundering, they aren't funding terrorists. And so this is one of the ways that they're cracking down on that, is to make sure that everybody is listed, who are the owners. Because if any money laundering and things like that go through the business, they want to know who's responsible versus, oh, this is mom and pop LLC, but nobody's really clarified as to actually own it. So this is just another way for them to gain access to it. So the reporting, it won't be for the CTA, like, how much money the business has made and all the day-to-day operation. That's not for that. That will be still for your tax preparation part, but not for the CTA part. They just simply want to know who's listed, address, phone number, things of that nature. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. I do have another question. I heard you say about the home-based business um versus the um virtual oh, I can't think.
The virtual office, like where it says address the principal place of business.
Yes.
Meaning, so like if you have a virtual office, that's where your mail goes, that's where all your official registration for your EIN and all those things. But that's not necessarily where you conduct business. So you may have a warehouse where you conduct, like if you're, I'm just using for an example, you're in the candle making business. I don't know, I keep talking about candles. I'm on some candles.
Yeah.
In the candle, I guess it's Christmas season, all the candles, whatever. So if you have a candle warehouse, you're not necessarily you're not making candles at your virtual office. So they still want to know where the business is actually taking place. So if
So
you,
being that I see clients in my home office,
yep,
I would
yep,
have to add in my home
list that. Yeah.
office. Okay.
The principal place of where you do business, like if you're home based, yes. If you have a warehouse, yes. You have a different place, if you're meeting in coffee shop, there's going to be some sort of place where you're going to have to list. And that's why I'm soon as I get through that application process, I'm going to schedule another virtual so I can say, hey, this is what it really looks like. So yeah, principal place of residence will probably be that for a lot of people. Think about 30 million small business owners. A lot of most of work from home. So yeah, that's going to be on there. All right. Anybody else have questions? And I'm going to get into some of the ones that were sent in. All right. So one of the questions, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Yolanda, you have a question?
Well, I didn't have a question. I was just gonna make a comment of the information is good. I did see this, like, you know how when your stuff pulls up on your phone, that it gives you an indication that these things are going on, but they never give you, you don't really know where to go to and get more information. So this is really good for those who already have something established or are looking to establish to know the time frame a little bit more conclusive of, you know, if you're starting something new, you have a shorter time period to get everything together.
Right.
Which shouldn't be too hard if you're just starting out, but basically to get it together because you don't have the same time frame of someone who's already has an EIN staff. So
Correct.
it's just like you said, it was short and to the point, but it is just the concept of being aware to look out for this, because I don't even know if you have an EIN number. Is this information even sent to you to be aware of?
So that's what I said. Like I said, our government, they aren't the best marketers. They'll put it out there and people are just supposed to magically find out about it. And that's why they rely so heavily on, tax professional, financial advisors, people who are into this type of thing to share. Because you didn't see a commercial when you were watching a football game Sunday that says, hey, don't forget about the CTA. So it's listed on the websites. Not knowing is not an excuse not to do it in their case. And so that's where a lot of people find out about it normally too late, because what happened is on day 91, if you're a new business and you have not completed the CTA, it's a $500 a day penalty. I ain't say $5 a day. I said 500, $500 a day penalty for not completing the BOI report. And so when I read that, I immediately said, okay, I have got to do something, because I know I don't always open all those emails and I don't read all that stuff. So I can only imagine somebody who is just starting out, trying to figure out all this other little stuff. They're not going to really pay attention to that, because all they know is I need an EIN number, I need some insurance, and everything that they have already a list 2 miles long, the BOI might just get missed. So no, Yolanda, they didn't sound the alarm on this one. They kind of want that $500 a day, I'm thinking.
Yeah, probably.
But not on my watch.
Well, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, so I'm gonna while y'all thinking, I'm gonna kind of read one of the questions. One of the questions was, who can access the BOI report, which is the beneficial owner information? Let me go back. The beneficial owner information, ownership information. So that's like your name, your address, all the things that they asked for, who owns the business, things of that nature. So they gave us 6 entities that have access to it. Some of them have full access, some of them have limited access, like they can only look at certain things, but that is federal agencies. Okay, how many federal agencies out there? Okay, state, local, and tribal agencies. So the federal would be like the Department of Human Services, the Department of Defense. It could be Department of Homeland Security, those type of things. Your local Social Security Administration. Your state would be your county tax collector's office. Local, lined up in it. Tribal, if you're on reservations and they have their tribal structure. So law enforcement, like the police already never mind. I'm gonna be quiet there. But law enforcement got something else to keep up with their already minimum pay. That's just my opinion. But however, in their defense, maybe law enforcement in special situations may need this. I can't really think of a scenario where they will write off, but I'm sure it's there for a reason. Somebody else who gets paid to think like that have already thought about why law enforcement would need it. Financial institutions, banks, those who monitor banks like the FDIC, things like that, financial and those that enforce the regulations. So like FINcen, companies like that. Your U.S. Department of Treasury, translation, your IRS, they'll have access. So those are the companies that will have access to that. Another question was, somebody asked what FINcen stand for. Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, meaning they're the watchdog to make sure that money isn't being misused in our country. They make sure like things like money laundering, hiding money, things like that. So that's their job, to enforce that the money is being used properly. Here's a great question. With this large database of 30 million small businesses that will initially be affected by this, can the system be hacked? Well, I'm gonna just leave that to you, for you all to kind of think. Can it be hacked? I'm not gonna imply that it can, and I'm not gonna say that it can't, but that's my answer on that. And my homework that Miss Monique gave me is to find out if this gonna be an annual thing. I will find out and let you all know. That's a very good question. So far it hasn't alluded to it. However, I am curious myself, what happens if there are changes to the business? And like I said previously, if you want more information about it, or if you want a, like a one-on-one with yourself in your business, and maybe you have business partners, you have an organization that you want to gather together to get more information about it, you can schedule a Zoom session with me by texting CTA to 985-326-9297. All right, we did our Q&A. And so next steps. So I don't want to just dump all this information on you and leave you hanging. There are other new updates regarding businesses and individuals as well. Aside from the CTA, we get a long list of, hey, these are the new updates. And something like I said earlier, some of that stuff is really minor, really miscellaneous, no need to just kind of ring the alarm. But a good tax professional or a financial advisor or whatever would make sure that all their clients or their community, for that matter, are aware of what's going on. So there are some other things. So it's important to to have a tax review for both your business and your personal. I suggest doing it annually. Just a good, like a checkup, just like we go and get our health checkup. Make sure that you're doing a financial health checkup on your business and a financial health checkup on your personal finances, because there are things that change and you want to make sure that you're in compliance. You want to make sure that you're still legit. So tax planning can help with that. And if not my company, if not Martin Business Solution, please find a company that you trust or someone that you trust to help you through this. We do offer a complimentary financial needs analysis for the personal, and I also do something similar for businesses. We connect you with trusted financial educators, and we do all that in-house. We have a team of folks that can definitely reach across and help you. I strongly suggest don't wing this. Don't try to figure this out. Don't procrastinate. Don't put it off. Remember, I said $500 per day is the fine. Not $500 a week, not $500 a month, $500 a day. Seek professional guidance, reach out today. And on January the 9th, I am having a virtual workshop about financial education. And any information that I have in that workshop, if I find out anything else about the CTA, I'm going to make sure that I include that in that workshop. But that workshop is going to be January 9th. And if you want the registration link for it, you can text money to 985-326-9297. So getting educated and staying educated is the key. And if you have anyone that invited you to this presentation, that is your financial educator, I will let them know that you got on and that you had, any more questions. So, so I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna open it up for any final questions. If you have another question, just simply unmute yourself. Meanwhile, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Like and please subscribe. It's the way of the world. In order for me to get the information out to more people, and this is free, it doesn't cost anybody anything to get this information. But in order to help me to do that, I'm asking that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook, and our Instagram. And you will receive an email later on with the replay. And I'll make sure to include the social media links in there as well. And you can find all this at our website, martinbusinesssolutions.com. So any other questions or concerns from anyone before we close it out? All right. Well, that concludes this about the CTA. I am going to go back to that slide that I had up with the information in case anybody wants to screenshot it or read it again. But until next time, anybody had a question? I see somebody unmuted themselves.
Oh no, I just wanted to say thank you. I have a couple of people that I need to make sure to link you with as well. This was very informative, and I know she doesn't have that information. And I wanted to ask about well, I could talk to you in our thing. It has to do with my daughter's the social media thing, but I don't know that she has an EIN, so I have to find out from her. So
Okay.
if she does, I'll have her link with you.
Okay. All right. And remember, even if you don't have an EIN yet, it's created. It still falls under that umbrella. So
Okay.
anybody unsure, have them to reach out, and I can have a conversation with them as well.
All right, appreciate that.
Okay. All right. So until we speak again, I want to thank you all once again for taking the time out of the middle of your day to be on here with me. I will send out the replay replay link in an email. And so if you're watching the replay or if you're on YouTube watching the replay, please let us know. And don't forget to mention the city and state that you're tuning in from. And once again, thank you guys and have a great, blessed rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.